Coming to you from Orange County, California, this is the Jug Life Podcast with Max Aita and Chad Wesley Smith. All right, everybody. I am Chad Wesley Smith. This is a special live Facebook Q&A episode of the Jug Life Podcast. I am joined, as always, by co-host and head coach of Team Juggernaut Weightlifting, Magnificent Maximum Montana. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you doing?
I'm good.
In sunny Park City, Utah.
Yes, Park City, Utah here for a bit of a team training camp.
Home of the Uties.
Yeah. So we're going to be taking your questions through Facebook as well as some questions that were already submitted. You stop that over there.
You can't watch it.
As well as, live TV, anything can happen. As well as some questions that were already submitted through Facebook and Instagram. So as we introduce the team, let's also go ahead and get right into the first question. And this was asked through Instagram by someone named @OneColorfulLife. And the question was, how can you be successful without in-person coaching? And all the ladies here work with Coach Max through remote coaching. So how are you guys able to make that successful, Miss Ritchey? And make sure introduce yourself, where you're from.
My name is Alyssa Ritchey, and I'm from Fort Collins, Colorado, and we'll be moving to Ohio. Woo!
I'm 27. I'm kidding.
How am I successful with remote coaching? I don't need somebody there right by my side the whole entire time I'm working out. I can send Max videos via text anytime I want, so that helps. But also, mentally, I am strong enough to get through the workouts and be successful on my own, and I don't need somebody standing there next to me telling me exactly what to do all the time. So my success just comes from my mind, and mentally I am strong, so that's how I get through.
I am Kristi Brewer. I live in Meridian, Idaho, and I've been a remote athlete with Max for about 5-6 months. For me, the success has been communication, being able to good lifts, bad lifts, but not even just the lifts, just kind of life in general, whether it's my schedule or injury, and just being able to communicate with him what's going on in my life and how to work around that, things I'm struggling with, and then trying to interpret the cues and find cues that actually work and that I understand. So, yeah, communication.
Hi, I'm Janyce Okamoto from Santa Barbara, California. I would definitely agree with Kristi with communication. Just to piggyback on that, ask questions. So asking the coach for clarification if there's anything that's confusing, just so you're not just left guessing. That's really helpful.
Hello. Do I look over there? Is it over there? Hi, guys. It's Quiana. I'm from Reno, Nevada. And I coach at Black Iron Gym. And the remote coaching does work, like everybody said, with communication. That's the word of the day. If you don't communicate, you're not going to get any better. Sending a whole bunch of videos. He's really easy to get a hold of. So if you send videos, text. I FaceTime him sometimes. He has to really like you to answer, though. I'm just kidding.
Is that why he never answers mine?
You got to call.
I got it.
Well, you returned the favor for us as our resident wig expert when you had we had to have our FaceTime consults about our wigs.
But yeah, definitely communication and then doing your part. So that's what I would say. Can you turn?
Hello, Kalynn. I'm from Park City, Utah, which is where team camp is being held. I'm just going to agree with everybody else. Communication is definitely key.
What a cheap answer.
Really not. Like, communication is key. Just letting him know how you're feeling day to day. That's most important, and not just being open and being honest about how you are really feeling, not what you think your coach wants to hear. Just being completely honest, and that's, I think, the most important thing. Yeah.
All right, wonderful. Well, and shameless plug time. You could get great online coaching as well through juggernautcoaching.com. So our next question is specifically for, I think, Max and our master of disaster, one of the masters of disaster, the Bulldog, Kristi Brewer, and it's about training for masters athletes. So athletes 35 years and above. How does training differ? Maybe for Max, and then for Kristi, kind of how have you, maybe other considerations that you try and specifically make with your training to be successful? So maybe Max.
With the masters, the most kind of obvious thing is just changing the volume of training, those kind of things for increased recovery if they need increased recovery from, they might have come from other sports where they have a really big history of training. That's going to play a role in how much work they're going to be able to do, or, maybe old injuries, those kind of things. And from a standpoint of the actual structure of training is the same, the exercises are the same, those kind of things are all the same. It's just a matter of how much more training or how much less training a master's would do relative to, a younger athlete, or maybe even 5, 6, 7 years younger. And then also, depending on how that person is in terms of where they are at in their technical development, they might benefit more from doing, a little bit more drill work and stuff, just because they need to learn the technique a little bit more if they started a little bit later, rather than if they're younger and a little more supple or whatever when they start. Their, athleticism is there. So.
All right. For me as a master, I am 35, so I'm new into the master's category, and also only 2 years into weightlifting. So for me, there's a lot of technique work that I'm trying to still figure out. As a master lifter, I think my biggest thing to work with is my schedule. It's just crazy with the kids, my work, training, and just trying to juggle all of that in life, and then still trying to be successful in training and not be beat. So I find myself having to find the right food, making time for rest, and not cutting out on recovery. I take a lot of recovery, whether it's ice baths or warm baths. So just really focusing on recovery so that I can show up every day. So
A lot of baths.
a lot of baths. We have a big tub. I'm a very clean person. I smell good always. I'm just kidding.
Clean and recovered. I think another important thing to consider for masters athletes, and this is powerlifting or weightlifting, is it's tough for us to give a blanket prescription for how a masters athlete should train, because masters athletes go from 35 until however long you can live. So there's a big difference between 35-year-old Kristi as a masters athlete versus what will one day be 45-year-old Kristi and 55 and 65, and even from one athlete of the same age to another, and differences in their training history and their movement capabilities and injury history, I think is a big thing that needs to be considered. Luckily, we have a video about this, and I'll go ahead and post this in the comments of the YouTube video, but it's called Considerations for Masters, and that's with the OG Master of Disaster, Joanne Aita.
That girl.
So moving on to the next question, and this one is specifically for our 48-kilo national champion, Alyssa Ritchey, and at Franken Rosa from Instagram asks, how do you mentally deal with the weights feeling heavier and heavier as you get lighter and lighter? So let's say 100 kilos when you weigh 53 feels great, but by the time you make it down to 48, it's feeling a lot tougher. How do you deal with that mentally?
Well, I just get on stage and lift the bar, to be quite honest. There's really no secret to it. It's going to feel heavy. I mean, you're 6 kilos lighter or whatever. 100 kilos under 53 is going to be nothing. You're going to stand that up pretty darn easy. But when you're 48, it feels slightly heavier, but it's getting to the point where it is getting easier each meet that I compete as a 48. So basically my weight cut is getting easier. So as you cut weight more down to the 48 kilo weight class, you are going to start feeling better under heavy loads. You're not going to be as surprised when that 100 drops on your body and you're like just smashed by it, versus you're going to be like, oh, wow, I can stand this up. I can jerk this. So don't fret too much. You will be able to stand it up eventually, either if it's 75 kilos, 80 or 100. It gets easier.
Just a caveat, I don't think the bar dropping on you and crushing you is the correct terminology there.
I mean, it kind of does some days. Let's be honest.
Really good at crushing.
Smashes you into the platform.
I'm done.
And Don Pauly, also to piggyback on that, wants to know if the picture of you skateboarding is photoshopped.
No.
No, I mean, why wouldn't you think a woman my size, as beautiful as me, as talented as me, would not be able to grind a rail?
This is the end of this question. We're done. It's not Photoshop. Just stop asking.
Yes, it's Photoshop, darn it. Shorty did it.
A light photoshopping, a light photoshopping.
is.
He added a few lens flares is all.
I mean, I actually used to be a really good skateboarder. I couldn't ever ollie up to that high of a rail, but I used to be able to grind rails. So yes.
The only part of that picture that's photoshopped is the skateboard.
Yeah.
Everything else is real.
That's true.
Yeah, the whole thing. Yeah, it is. Oh, yeah.
All right, moving on to our next question. And this is free for anyone who wants to chime in on it. You get a couple different answers. This is from @Landnan75 on Instagram. Asks, how do you handle bad training sessions and stay motivated when things aren't going well?
Well, what I do, I'll just go ahead and talk because I have days like these. After I'm done, I actually just go home and just eat. And that's all I do really, because we know we only have 2 things to do pretty much in squat: snatch, clean jerk. It's like when we ask Max when we're going to training, what are we doing today? Well, we're going to do a little snatch, we're going to do a little clean jerk, and maybe a little bit of squat. It's going to be the same stuff. You're going to do it all over again, like I was saying earlier to them. So I just go home with my little Mary Way and I just eat. That usually makes me feel better if I am in fact sad. Usually I'm not, because I know I'm just going to be able to do it again.
So eat your feelings. Got it.
Eat my feelings. Or take a nap. That too. Yeah.
I just remember that everyone has bad days. Not every day is going to be a great day. The best of the best. And you may not always see it or hear about it, but it happens to everybody. I like to do, if I have a bad day, I like to try and come away with something positive from that day. And I write it down. It can be something as little as like, my hair looked good, or I was wearing a nice outfit. Like, I liked my outfit. It can be anything. It can be so stupid. Yeah. It could be so stupid, but writing something down that's positive, and then writing down like why you think it was bad. If your recovery wasn't good enough, or something that you can like make it better the next day, because there's always tomorrow.
That is true. Sometimes I do put that in with my Instagram caption. My outfit was popping.
See? It helps. Anything positive to walk away from it instead of making it a bad day altogether.
I have something to add. I remember specifically one day was just awful. Like, I was done. I was like, my whole conversation with Max was like, this sucked. Like, nothing went well. And he basically said, well, let's find something.
Literally.
Yeah, I was like,
Literally.
okay. And we'll talk tomorrow. And he just said, find something that went good and basically live to fight another day. And I think that's what it is. It's basically brushing it off and coming back another day. So
Yeah, that's so important to remember is to treat each day, each workout, honestly, even each lift as an individual effort, because one missed lift doesn't mean that you're going to miss the next lift. Like they're not connected to each other at all. And one bad day of training doesn't mean that the next day has to be bad as well. So I think it's very important if you have a bad day or a string of bad days in training, to take a step back and to not try and find an excuse, but but to try and find a reason that it's happening. And a reason that I think there's an important distinction between reason and excuse. An excuse basically is happening to you. You're saying that it's out of your control. But if you can identify a reason, whether that's bad sleep, it's nutrition was off, it was a lack of focus from being distracted by something else, whatever it may be, you can find that reason and effectively correct it. That's going to help end those bad days. At one bad day, instead of letting it turn a bad day into a bad week into a bad training cycle. You had something you wanted to add there? Or?
I did. I was at nationals, and that is when I got to become the national champ for the 48 kilo class. And I remember missing 2 snatches in the back before I even went out for my opener. So when I missed those 2 snatches, I remember Max looking at me kind of in a panic. And I was like, it's fine. I got this. And I remember them unloading the bar, and we took 68 again, and then we took 72, and then my opener was like 73. And I made it out on the platform. If you don't have bad days, you don't know what it's going to be like to have a really good day. And if everybody doesn't have bad days, you're probably not human. You're just, you have to have bad days in order to have really good days. And bad days make you grow as a person and an athlete.
And remember that Instagram and YouTube are not reality. So your favorite weightlifters who you're watching, they're probably not putting up all their misses and all their toughest days. Yeah.
You do too.
Well, present company excluded. You're probably seeing more of a highlight reel. So don't let that discourage you too much. This next question here on Facebook is from Victory Spine and Sport. I don't think that's his real name. What are some of your favorite drills to do during warm-ups? And also, thanks for putting out so much great content. You're welcome for that. Warm-up. What's a typical warm-up looking like, ladies?
Mine's a bar warm-up. I start with, what do? I start by doing, now I do a little tiny baby jog. And then I do some what are those things called? Duck walk. And then some good mornings. Yep.
King squats.
Back raises, GHDs, and then I jump, go change my shoes, and then I jump and do a bar workout or a bar warm-up, which usually consists of 5 minutes. So 2-minute rest in between each bar warm-up. I don't know.
Bar drills?
Yeah, thank you. I can't think of the word. So that's what I do.
I'm old, so I must take a long time.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Oh, yeah, you're old. Yep, you take forever.
Granny over here. Yes, we did jazzercise this morning. It was proved to be amazing. But for me, I do some little cardio warm-up, whether it's on the bike, quick jog, and then a lot of stretching to open up my hips. And then I take the bar. I do at least 2 to 3 sets of bar drills before I actually put any weight on the bar. So, but I do a lot of stretching. Miss are automatically flexible.
Yeah, I do.
I just woke up beautiful and stretched.
Not great at warming up, but I really try to do these things. I try to warm up a little bit, get the blood moving, whether it's a little jog or on a bike. But definitely what I really have added is some mobility drills with the lacrosse ball or baseball. The baseball is a little bit harder. It definitely opens up my hips. That, and then I always do some shoulder warm up, pass throughs before I get into the bar. The king squats, as Q was saying, those are good. Magic.
When I lifted when I was younger, I would tie my shoes and walk to the bar. That was my warm up. Now that
70 was already loaded, right?
120 was always in the bar.
120.
Now that I'm older, I don't tie my shoes. I just walk to the bar.
All right, next question. This one probably more specifically for Max. This is a question through Facebook from Andreas Vicken. He asks, how can I improve my wrist position when catching snatches? He's just doesn't feel comfortable in that position, and so kind of how should the elbow be rotated? And a second question, but what should someone do if they can power more than they can doing the full lifts?
For the first question, the wrist position overhead, you want to have the hand and the shoulder internally rotated so that when you hold the bar overhead, your wrist is actually bent backwards but slightly turned forward. What that does is it puts the pressure of the bar and everything on your shoulder, the rear part of your shoulder, your upper back, rather than having your wrist straight or your wrist just bent straight back without any internal rotation. Would put the bar kind of forward and over your head, and it's going to be less stable, way weaker, just more prone to shoulder irritation or even injury later on. As far as powering more than you can do in the classic lifts is generally going to come from either being really, really uncoordinated in the second pull, having a kind of a poor explosion, so there's no acceleration on the bar, where you're forced to pull the bar as high as possible and then only have a little bit of time to get under it. When you're forced to pull the bar higher and higher and higher, you end up stuck in this place where all your energy and everything is going to pulling the bar, so you stay on the ground really long. You continue to pull against it until the final moment where you go under. That's going to put the bar higher relative to your own height, which is going to be always a power snatch or a power clean. In order to fix it, you have to spend time doing stuff like hang snatches, work on or block snatches, same for the clean, hang and block, and then work on the drills to really develop the second pull. Make sure when you make contact with the bar, there's an actual forceful acceleration from your hip rather than just a kind of muted bump or just kind of a softer, one-speed pull.
All right. This is a question from me. So, besides
Mixing it up.
Yeah, throwing curveballs here. I asked the hard-hitting questions, but outside of actual lifting memory, like at a meet of you hitting whatever weight, what's one of your favorite weightlifting like meet stories? My favorite meet memories.
I got one.
Boom. There we go.
All right. So when I was at the Arnold, I remember I was taking my weight and they called my name and my singlet was still half off. And I was taking my opener in the back for snatch. And they called my name, Alyssa Ritchey, as the lifter. And so I had to run on stage. As I was on stage, was pulling up my singlet. And I literally just CrossFitter walked up to the bar and hit that crap. And I made it.
And this was after you'd done your double under burpee.
That was
warm-up,
actually
correct?
after I did my double under warm up. Yes.
You got jump rope.
Yeah, I always did double unders before my workouts. I mean, it
Like
worked.
on the warm-up
Nobody can
platforms.
say anything. I was winning. That's all that matters.
Yeah, you had a fantastic meet there. You were the number one at 53s in the country after that meet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So that was good. Double unders and burpees. So you guys want to be number one? Double unders and burpees. You're welcome.
Don't do that.
I am not.
Who else?
Any like fountain related stories come to mind for anyone?
There may or may not have been a fountain story.
Well, what is it?
Do I remember much?
You tell it.
I mean, I have other memories of other people being in fountains. Like multiple competitions, different people, different fountains, different hotels.
All right, fine.
Just
You remember it?
Okay, so it was at Grand Rapids at AO3, and Chad, we're just sitting there after dinner or whatever, and in the creepy little hotel.
Super
It was-
creepy.
It was a shining hotel.
Yeah, it was
Hotel did
the
you stay
shot.
at?
We
The
stayed
Grand
at, I
Amway.
don't know.
Oh, it's so pretty.
You were in the
No,
different wing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
must have.
It was
Yeah.
definitely The Shining like, and it was just creepy. But after a very nice dinner and time going out, Chad was standing there and he dared Max to go in the fountain and grab money or just bet him to just get in the fountain when there's like the concierge over there not paying attention. I'm like, I can do it. So I volunteered myself to get in the fountain. I just went for a little swim.
How much
And,
money?
and
I don't
exactly
think I even pulled any money out.
exactly as she's getting in the fountain, a high-ranking USAW official begins walking by. No names. We don't need names. We don't need to remind anyone of anything. Or you don't even know where the location of this was. and Max and I are looking at each other like, oh my god, like this is not a good look for us. But she was
But
killing with
I
stealth.
was
She
so
was
sneaky. I
very
went under.
stealthy.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. She had to hold her breath
No
in the
one-
fountain underwater.
No one saw me.
That one was like this.
But then these
Yeah.
two guys were like, "This is the best thing I ever saw all night." I'm like, "There we go, perfect." And then I got out, and then I wake up. I had a super early flight. I wake up to a text, and it was the picture of my wet butt on the couch that was still there the next morning.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, the couch was 200 years old, and you ruined it forever.
Yeah,
but,
so actually I did it a favor, but
Get it.
so that's my story.
And memorable.
Memorable or funny?
Your favorite event at weightlifting?
I'll have a memorable one. This will be funny. So my first international masters competition was in Puerto Rico, and I was removed from the start list 2 days before we flew out. And so I found out that someone had emailed the director and said that Kristi Brewer is no longer lifting, and I had been officially removed. So that took like 2 weeks, not 2 weeks, like stressed out on the plane trying to figure it out. Didn't actually get it figured out until we landed like the day before the competition. But
do you know who did it?
Who did?
we are not naming any names.
Strategy.
We'll discuss later. It was from a different country, actually.
Haters.
So yeah, I have like email proof. It's crazy. So anyway, I was removed, but I got back on. I lifted, and that's where I broke my first world record. So I thought it was a pretty good meet.
Yeah, suck it, whoever you are.
Took him down, and I showed him who's boss.
Because that's why they removed you, because they knew
Yes.
they were
Did
going to
they box? Did they lose?
So anyway,
Lost.
All right, I know Q that you deal with this
What is it?
a bit from time to time, and
what is it not?
and Max can probably offer some good insight here as well. This is from @SazLifts on the Instagrams. Do you ever experience dizziness or blacking out at the top of a clean, and what's causing that, and how can that be improved?
Well, I don't. It doesn't happen anymore, but I think it's because I would hold my breath until I finished my clean. I think that's what my problem was, is I would just hold it because I need to stay tight, but then I go and almost pass out afterwards. So now if you watch me clean as I'm coming up, I always like let out like a as I'm coming up. I'm not the only one, I'm sure, who does that. But now I don't get like as dizzy. And if I do black out, it's because I'm panicking before I have to jerk. But other than that, it's not. It's just breathing.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
The only other reason people black out after they stand up from the clean is because they know they're not going to make the jerk, and they need a really good excuse. That, and then they're looking at the hands like after they miss a lift. They'll pull it up at like they'll miss this Clark it, and they'll like look at their fingers like oh callus tore, like oh that was so bad.
Yeah, sometimes it's not about making it, Max.
So true.
All right, that's most of the pretty good questions that we have, I think.
Any on the live stream?
A couple, but I threw a couple of them in. There was a couple powerlifting ones mixed in. All right, how about
updates on the Instagram post?
how about Kevin Fry asks about front rack mobility issues. So probably particularly with beginner lifters, or people just getting into things, or very big bicepted folks. If they have front rack mobility, what are some cures for that?
I mean, the biggest thing in all that is always just getting into the position first, and then spending a lot of time there, and then once you can get comfortable, loading it so that you can actually create some change. You want the tissue to adapt, so you have to put it under some stress. And if initially you have to stretch and do all these mobilization things to get into position, and then from that position you can load it a little bit and then just practice. The fastest, most simple way is to just spend more and more time in there, do something for it every single day. With Janyce, we were working on her front rack stuff, and a lot of it's just
Because Janyce's muscles are too big.
biggest biceps currently on that couch. Well, actually, look at her arms. She's got huge biceps.
and calves.
Well,
And
okay.
back.
Calves to bicep ratio, she's the most skewed on the couch for sure. Like 16 times the size of her calf as her bicep.
She does have massive calves.
Anyways,
Pretty defined abs and an insane back.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
you got muscles.
Oh yeah.
Wait, what? What? Calves Cravings is an Instagram?
Said it was only
Yes, check it out.
only Asian calves too.
Oh, that's best.
I didn't respond.
Wait. We did not tag the right Instagram people in these questions. No, so just spending more time there and doing those things.
Does it help if you have like a friend to get in a real close face-to-face type of front rack mobility drill where you guys touch mustaches?
Okay. Yeah, I've seen coaches at local meets where their lifter was, doing front rack stuff, and they walked up and this coach put his hands on his lifter's knees, and his mustache was literally touching the other lifter's lips almost. Like it was like right there, heavy breathing, an intense stare, a lot of stretching. I actually have a good story about this. When I was lifting when I was younger, I did a clean, and my first coach was really enthusiastic about helping us stretch out our shoulders.
Steve, or
This is golf, yeah. So there was two of us. He was going to help both of us
simultaneously?
Well, so Damon, the other lifter, every single clean of his entire life, his left hand popped off the bar, and he would make every jerk. So every clean, he cleaned it, his hand would pop off, he'd readjust, and he'd make the jerk every time. Thousands and thousands of cleans. So he grabs one of us, we stand up, do a clean with 50 kilos, Damon does, and he walks up in front, and he kind of like lifts the elbows, right, where he's got both hands lifting the elbows up. He's very enthusiastic. He really wants to help and really wants to make you better. To the point that Damon blacked out, fell over backwards. And, Steve's a colorful guy. He's like, you're okay. Pats him on the back like it's up. All right, your turn, Max. And so I clean, and he's like, I'm not going to do that again. Of course, he does it again, and I black out. And I'm like, okay, you just pushed the bar back too far, and you kind of like, get dizzy. And like at this point, anyone watching would be like, God, that guy, he made a mistake 2 times. They can't do that a 3rd time. Damon gets up again. Somehow he ends up doing it too much, and Damon blacks out, falls over backwards, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to move on to snatching now.
So partner front rack mobility drill.
Not the best.
Handle with care. Be careful with that. Girls, where can they find you? Mostly on the internet, not in real life.
On the internet, at Kalynn_Rose, I think.
How do you spell Kalynn?
KALYNN _Rose.
Check your Welch.
That's all.
I got one.
You brought your own to this.
Well,
She carries one always.
one
always
time.
got to be ready to drop a beat.
Those raps.
Once I was a homie, then I was a loney, then I was a bondage.
You guys know that I have a max rap.
Oh, please.
Shut up.
Do it.
Do it.
I have a max rap. Let's see if I can remember it. It's like
It's basically a musician.
No.
It's like MONTANA. If he knows one thing, it's how to squat every day. Montana man, straight out the forest. Want to get strong? He's got the plan. Notorious MAX. Better get ready. You're on the platform next.
No.
Right? Isn't that good?
How long did it take you to figure that out?
Like 2 minutes at the meet last weekend. Or 2 weekends ago.
Awesome.
You should have just dropped the mic and shut it off right there.
You shut up.
Meet's over, everyone. Meet's over. Gotta go.
Pizza. At Alyssa Ritchey 1 on Instagram.
At K_Mighty on Instagram. Bulldog Brewer.
Oh, I like that. On Instagram. At Janyce, JANYCE.OKAMOTO. No, it's my email. But yeah,
That's my social security number. My bad. Hold on.
Janyce.OKAMOTO Okamoto on Instagram. Okay.
She needs more sleep.
Such an extra kind of spelling there.
A lot of letters.
Too complicated. We need to change this.
Do you guys feel like it's sort of
She's gonna be calves
unfair
on
that I have
fleek.
made up a rap for Max and he has not made up any
I
sort
can't
of...
make up a rap. I have no talent like that. Chad has come up with many musical scores that would rival any of the music currently out there today on
I
the
had
radio.
the Joanne rap I did last weekend too, but no, I can't do them all. I can't do them all in here.
Yeah.
Until
They're,
next time.
they're brilliant. Truly amazing.
Although you still haven't figured out a nickname, which you
For you?
promised. Yeah, you promised. Remember, you promised that. The
Baby
first
driver.
time I met
Because of
you.
the driving thing you got going on.
You're the youngest person on the team and you drive like a psycho, baby driver.
That's
Yeah.
Bulldog, Baby Driver. Do we have other nicknames?
No,
Nah.
what's yours?
Nothing.
I don't have anything.
I don't have anything either.
They'll come around.
I'm good because it'll probably be something
Of course,
Kodiak.
psychotic,
Yeah,
crazy,
Yeah.
psycho.
of course, it will have to
The
be insulting
animal.
to some degree. What fun would it be if it wasn't?
Are you
Gotta-
moving your pec when you said that?
No.
To try to impress? You're like, it'll be in person some degree.
I really wasn't. I mean, I am now, but maximum.
You can find me Max_8 on Instagram or Facebook, or you can go to Juggernaut Coaching for any info on the online programs.
Yeah, juggernautcoaching.com, powerlifting, weightlifting, super total, all different kinds of levels. You could be teammates with these ladies right here.
Hang out with us.
No, that's not part of the online coaching yet.
Alyssa.
You can hang out with Alyssa. Yeah, you can hang out with Alyssa. But Alyssa will have 30-minute conversations with homeless people on the side of the road. So,
That's one of my best weightlifting memories.
I'm Chad Wesley Smith at Chad Wesley Smith and at Juggernaut Training on Facebook and Instagram, filling up your news feed all day. This was a special bonus episode of the Jug Life podcast. If you enjoyed the podcast, go on iTunes, give us a 5-star review, write us something funny, and maybe I'll read it on the air, and then you could win something from that. So thanks for watching. Yeah, like YouTube, all that stuff. Go do it. Do it now.
Now.
See ya.